It's mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and all these questions were answered during my live birthday segment on February 20th. Reminder, all of these questions are going to be around free agency or trades, and everything that you see is from our loyal subscribers here on the Raiders Report. First one's coming in from our man, 93, or is it going to be OG? One of the people are going to be getting a question in here, and it's going to be, again, anything you got for me. This one's coming in from Navman. If you look at the salary cap increase, we could end up with Malcolm and Josh Sweat. Save 40 on cuts, extra 22 total under the cap equals 153 mil. I like it. I do know the Raiders can create a lot of salary cap space, and they have plenty of money to go out and get Josh Sweat and Malcolm Koonce. The problem is, though, I'm not going to pay Malcolm 20 mil, and I'm also not going to pay Josh Sweat 20 mil. Because to me, you got to be able to make a decision. You're only going to go out and get one of those guys. Like, I would rather the Raiders sign Josh Sweat and then go get a Joseph Asai, go out and get a Caleb Von Chasen, go out and get a Lorenzo Carter, where all those three names that I just said, you combined all three of those, and that's going to be less than 10 mil. If Malcolm, we can get him for less than 12, I'm interested. If there's a team, though, that gives Malcolm, honestly, $15 million per year and above, I would be shocked, because I really think the only team that's going to even consider it would be the team that he played for with the Raiders. Let's go to Press Rodriguez. Can you go in depth on Mad Max guaranteed money? He has 2 years left. He ain't playing for free. So the details around Maxx Crosby, which, Preston, I've actually done multiple videos way more in depth on Crosby's contract, where I project him to get a 3-year and like a 5-year essentially. But he's got $0 million left on his guaranteed, or he's got $0 million guaranteed left on his contract, and he just wants a new deal. He wants an extension, or he wants some sort of a rework deal. The way that the Rams kind of did their contract with Aaron Donald a few years ago, where they just gave him 3 years, it was fully guaranteed. That's kind of what you're looking for Max, and he's going to be somewhere around that $30 to $35 million per year range. Let's go a little flapjack. Also important, if you don't get that new contract with Crosby, he's gone. No new contract, no Crosby. Little flapjack, F it, sign Darnold, Jameis Winston, Drew Lock, Flacco, and keep AOC. Start them randomly one and hope it's the week that they play like 07 Brady. I mean, that is the ultimate YOLO idea. The problem is, that might be all your salary cap space. I'm kidding. It wouldn't be. But it would be way too much on a quarterback. Pick one. If you're telling me I got to pick out of all those names, it's Sam Darnold, and it's not even close. Let's go to Melly. What up, Melly? Would you trade back from 6 for an extra second or third? I guess it depends. I mean, if I'm going from 6 all the way down to if I'm going from 6 outside of the top 10, I want another first-round pick. And I know that this year is a little bit lower in terms of what draft value is at, but I still want some extra picks. I'm okay with the idea of the Raiders adding extra draft capital. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a mock draft around it. But if your guy isn't there at 6, then sure, you can move back. But like if Mason Graham's there at 6, take him. Abdul Carter, I'm taking him. Will Johnson, I would entertain that idea. There's a lot of good players that could be available to the Raiders, though, at pick number 6. Let's go to King Shav. We need to sign Aaron Rodgers. It depends on what the money is. And I've seen some people, say, well, the Raiders could get Aaron Rodgers at $1.2 million, just like the way that, it happened last year with Russell Wilson. Contracts are totally different. It's not like that at all. I would imagine that Rodgers, if he's signed with the Raiders, is probably going to be looking for $20 to $30 million per year. I'm not interested in Aaron Rodgers at $20 to $30 million. And I know that he had some good games, but they also had some clankers in that mix as well. If Aaron Rodgers is willing to prove to me that he's not going to be selfish and he can put the Raiders ahead of him, well, then if Rodgers is willing to pay or play at anything, I would say right now at the vet min, 1.2, because he has been a cancer. You can't deny that he hasn't been a cancer on the New York Jets. You just can't deny it. So because of that, I want him at 1.2. If he's not willing to play at 1.2, then he's not willing to be a team player, and that's what I want. The Raiders over Aaron Rodgers. Lord Cameron, trade for DK Metcalf. It's interesting what it would cost to go out and get DK, and I've thrown out some ideas before of what I think it could cost, but I always try to give you guys a different answer of what I think it could cost, and Metcalf is talented, right? He's got a lot of connections with Pete Carroll. Let's say this. The Raiders get DK Metcalf, and they also get a 7th-round pick. The biggest need right now for Seattle is center, so let's throw in Andre James, and let's just throw in the pick that we got from Davante Adams, a third, which I don't know if you can make that real quick. That way I can kind of see what it looks like from the jump. So the Raiders would get DK Metcalf. You get a 7th-round pick, which is, what, 236 for Seattle, it looks like. And then Seattle's going to get a 3rd-round pick, and they go get Andre James. But when you look at some of the biggest needs that the Seahawks have, it's center. They got to be able to go out and find a center. I want the Raiders to be able to move on from Andre. You're going to eat probably like 3. You save $5 million, you eat 3. And if you go out and trade for DK, you're also going to have to pay him a brand new contract at 28 years old. So would you do this trade? I just randomly thought of it. Let's see what you guys think. Should the Raiders make this deal? DK and a 7th rounder to Seattle for a 3rd-round pick and Andre James. Should the Raiders do this trade? Give me a yes. Give me a no. My answer right after this YouTube ad break. After looking at it closely, this is a trade that I would do. The fact that you're able to move on from Andre James is key. It saves you a little bit of money. But also on top of that, you're getting a 28-year-old receiver that fits exactly what you're looking for. Physical, field stretcher, has the chemistry with Pete Carroll, and you're kind of flipping Davante Adams for DK, and you're able to get it at a much cheaper rate. And I would say right now, Metcalf in this offense is a better fit and a better player than Davante Adams, what he would have been in this current offense. If you guys don't already know, we're a family here on the Raiders Report, and any time that they do something, I will pump out a video. It's my birthday at the time that I'm making this show, and honestly, if you want to have if you didn't get me anything, which it's okay if you didn't, hit that subscribe button. But if the Raiders make a trade, if they do anything big, especially if they trade for DK Metcalf, I promise you this, I'm going to be going live for a very long time on this channel, and I don't want you to miss it. What's up, Lamont? What I miss, and is Shador better than Fields? I think it depends what type of offense you want to run. Where if you're going to be more of a run-first style of offense, Justin Fields isn't a bad option. But I also don't think that bringing in both of these guys is a bad option. You can get Justin Fields at a cheap discounted rate. You let Shador Sanders learn for a year or two underneath Fields, and you let Shador learn this Chip Kelly system. This is the best bang-for-your-buck option, arguably, for the Raiders if they don't have to take Shador at number 6. Because I also then, if you sign Justin Fields, I want them to invest in that offensive line. And again, I don't know what it exactly looks like, but Shador's got to learn for at least a year, maybe 2 in the NFL. Raider Tone, what up, man? Holland and Merrick. Holland and Merrick, to me, would be my dream safety duo for the Raiders, and it's going to cost you some money. Merrick's projected at about 15.7. Holland's projected at 15.1. Yes, $30 million combined for your safeties is a lot of money, but combining your safeties who are both 26 years old, and Merrick can be that Swiss Army knife guy, Holland can be that true center fielder. You combine both of those dudes for the next 3 to 4 years. And reminder, with the salary cap going up, that's important. But I also did a show earlier this week about TV right deals and how in 2028, 2029, for teams that are aggressive, you can give these bigger time contracts, and then it's going to be easier to pay some of those deals in the 4th year, in the 5th year. Because the only way you're going to do this is if you look at Holland and Merrick and go, I want both of y'all to be our safeties for the next 3 to 5 years, and it's kind of a package deal. We got more questions coming up here in just a moment. Before I get into it, though, a huge shout-out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS. There's a reason why Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Funny enough, when you win, you can actually get your money in less than 15 minutes, which is one of the reasons why I love Prize Picks. I know football season is over, but basketball is here. Hockey is really electric right now. And no matter what, if you plan on sitting down for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you're going to watch an event, if you put a little bit of money down, you're going to be locked in. You can get $50 when you play $5 at prizepicks.com/CLNS. So if you're watching right now and you're trying to run your game, here's maybe a lineup that you can go with. And what I love about baseball, I'm not somebody that's going to sit down and watch every single baseball game. It's just not going to be me. But I do try to follow along and see what happens. If you want to do season-long on Prize Picks, you can also do that, which they have season-long for football as well, if you want to look at some season-long ones for the Raiders. If anybody's trying to play, this is our baseball guy here at Chat Sports, Jack's season-long Prize Picks lineup. Lot of mores. And if you're trying to put some money in your pocket, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick 2 or more players. Choose more or less. It's really that simple. And watch the winnings roll in. Prizepicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS. Let's keep it rolling here on the Raiders Report. Reminder again, all these questions are from our live show on February 20th. What up, Michael? Sign Koonce at 20 or trade for Garrett at $34 million. Oh, boy. I'm not going to lie, and I can't even believe I'm about to say this. I probably signed Malcolm Koonce at 20 because I don't have to give up 2 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. I do really believe that whatever team trades for Garrett, they're going to give up 2 first-round picks. And I don't want to give up pick 6 this year, and I don't want to have to give up a first-round pick in 2026 in case the Raiders do need a quarterback. So because of that, I guess I'm going to sign Malcolm Koonce at $20 million, but it does make me feel a little bit icky. I'm not going to lie. Let's go to Charles Taylor. You can only bring back one, Hunter Renfrow or Mack Hollins. I mean, it's Mack Hollins, and it's not close. I tried to tell people that Hunter Renfrow was done way before anybody else, I think, thought he was done. And I know how much we all loved Renfrow, and it was a player that, you just went out there and you rooted for. But just like we always say, sometimes you just got to be able to move on. He's not the player that y'all think he is. He's not healthy. He's been banged up. Those concussions really slowed him down. And on the type of offense that this team's trying to run, it's Mack Hollins. If you told me Mack Hollins at 2.4 or Hunter Renfrow at 1.2, I'm going to take Mack Hollins at his market value at 2.4. There's a reason why Renfrow didn't play last season, y'all. Let's go to Nab Man. Appreciate the happy birthday wish. He's talking about Najee Harris. To me, you're not going to put Najee at fullback. That doesn't make any sense to me. He's not a fullback. I just don't think he's good enough he's not good enough as a full-time blocker to only be a fullback. He catches the football a lot better, but at $9.2 million, he's a good back. He's going to be one of the guys that the Raiders look at. I know that for a fact. But at the exact same time, if you are going to find a running back, I agree with you where you got to be able to give him an incentive-based deal. Mario, sign Calais Campbell. I'm on board with it, dude. I think he's one of the best bang-for-your-value picks year in and year out. I know Father Time is undefeated, but until Father Time starts slowing down Calais Campbell, you got to be interested in him, right? If you're unable to bring back Adam Butler and you're looking for a defensive tackle that you can put in the middle on like a 1, maybe 2-year deal, it's probably going to be a 1-year deal because he's 38 years old. He has consistently been one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League year in and year out. He just doesn't get paid because he's 38, and every year people are like, this is going to be the year that he falls off. Even if he falls off a little bit, he's still a damn good defensive tackle. What's up, Rebel? You saw the drama on X regarding Richie Incognito. I did. It's very, very interesting. And quite frankly, it sounds like it is true. I mean, the guy came out and literally said that it's true. So it's really effed up on his part. And if I was Richie Incognito, I would sue the shit out of him, quite frankly. Let's go to Carlo D. Fernandez. How many players can the Raiders franchise tag? You're only allowed to franchise tag one player, but they're not going to franchise tag any players. It doesn't make sense. There's not a single player on this Las Vegas Raiders roster that's about to hit the open market that it makes any sense to franchise tag. There's not a single one because there's not a single player on the Raiders hitting the open market that is a top 5 player at that position, and that's what you'd have to pay him, top 5 money at that position. JJ, would you want the Raiders to sign Nick Chubb? If you told me I could get the Nick Chubb before the knee injury, yeah. Problem is he's just different. And it's sad because I love the runner that Chubb is. But if you watched any Browns games last season, he's clearly lost the step, and that knee injury has just zapped him of what made Nick Chubb really special. He's going to get an extra offseason. He's going to be cheap. I mean, you're talking like a $3 million deal. So should the Raiders sign Nick Chubb, let's say it's $3 million, give me a yes, give me a no. I can't wait to see some of those answers down below. Let's go to Gilbert. Russell Wilson at quarterback. Depends what the price tag is. Again, there was a really big report from one of Mike Tomlin's best friends, Jay Glazer, and Glazer flat out said, no chance Russell Wilson's going to go to the Raiders, which I find to be a little bit interesting. But at the same time, If you told me which quarterback out of all the free agent QBs do I think is the worst fit with Chip Kelly, I would say it's Russell Wilson. The Chip Kelly offense with the skill set that Wilson has, I would say it would be the worst fit based on what we've seen. Now, again, maybe Kelly could switch up a few things here and there, but why would you pay Russell Wilson $38 million when you could pay Sam Darnold $40 million? Like, if we're going to pay that much money, just go pay Sam Darnold. Or you could pay Justin Fields, even if, $10, $12 million. I'd rather have Justin Fields at that type of price tag. Let's go to Raider Rob. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Hello to my dad. A.J. Brown, Asante Samuel, thoughts? Well, you'd have to trade for A.J. Brown. Asante Samuel Jr., which he's a free agent. Yeah, if it's Asante Samuel, he's been retired a while. Asante Samuel, I could wrap my mind around the Raiders trying to bring him in. Good slot corner. To me, though, Asante Samuel Jr. is probably going to cost you $13, $14, $15 million, and maybe I'm wrong in that number, but that's what his Spotrac market value is. And if I'm going to spend that much money, I'd rather just go spend it on DJ Reed, play him on the outside, or just go spend some of that extra money and find an outside corner and then just bring back Nate Hobbs at a much cheaper of a discounted rate. Asante Samuel's a hell of a player. Like, there's a reason why he's stuck around in the league and he's been on so many different, regimes, if you will. It's because he's a really good player. He's a feisty player. He's kind of a player that I think a Meek Robertson could potentially turn into down the road. Let's go to trade back in the draft with the Cowboys for a second, third, and a first in 2026. So where are the Cowboys even picking? So they're at 11 or 12. I mean, real talk, I don't even think the Cowboys would do this. I don't think they're going to give up their first 3 picks next year. And I say that just because that's what I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know why the Cowboys would trade up. Because the only way that you're trading up this much is for a QB. And Dak's not going anywhere from what I understand. Def, sign Aaron Jones and draft Trevion Henderson. This is a good idea. If I'm Las Vegas, you spend about $6 million on Aaron Jones. You draft Trevion Henderson in the 3rd round. Though, I am worried that Henderson gets taken in the 2nd round. I even saw a mock draft the other day from somebody that I think is smart, had him going in round 1. And he's going to be a player of stock who's going to continue to go up and up and up, which we'll see how that ends up going. But I like that duo if that's the type of mindset that you're going to go out and get. Sign a running back, draft a running back. I like that idea a lot. If I did not get to your question, I apologize. You can always hit me up on Instagram or on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. I will warn you, I got a lot of family in town this weekend, so I'm not going to be doing as much stuff on social media as I usually am. But just know it's the off season, and I'm always down to answer questions when I get some free time.